All right, question number 2. Now, I don't even have the answers here because it's a lot of text. I'll put them up in a minute. But as you can see, there's a lot of text, and you should not freak out, and definitely don't skip it because it's question number 2, which means that although they're not in precise order of difficulty, this is probably not quite as hard as the sheer volume might look. And also, it's a flawed reasoning question, which are often easier than ones that don't say flawed reasoning, because you can at least give it the old college try by saying, well, why is this stupid? And if that pops out at you, you've got something to go on. If it doesn't, no harm done. What makes this a quagmire would not be this sheer amount of text alone, but the fact that every answer choice is itself an argument. So, let's go in aggressively at this point before we turn tail and run. And speaking of tails, all Labrador retrievers bark a great deal. Okay, now that word all clearly is putting this in some abstract logic-y realm, because somewhere there's a Labrador that does not. I haven't met it, but it's out there. All St. Bernards, again, with the all, bark infrequently. So what we can say is that we're already looking at this in a very logic-y construct, very if-then probably, and the flaw is probably someone's going to flip the if-then maybe. Let's see. Each of Rose's dogs is a cross between a Labrador Retriever and a St. Bernard. Therefore Rose's dogs are moderate barkers. Okay, so the flaw here is just sort of rises unbidden, I think, when you just read that, which is that you don't know what you're going to get when you cross dogs. It might be somewhere in the middle. It might just be a freak. Who knows? It's a dog. So I'm not quite sure how to phrase "it's a dog" in a more abstract way, but I suppose if you want to look at it as, the moral of the story here is that crossing something that is X and something that is Y doesn't get you something halfway between X and Y necessarily. So with that in mind, let's look at the answers. All right, here are the first 3 answers. All students who study diligently make good grades. What I'm looking at right now is the fact that, okay, we're talking about all. That's, helpful. That's along the right lines. But some students, okay, I already don't like this. That some kind of knocks it right out. It doesn't really seem to parallel that all up there. I'm just going to move on. But okay, I'll bite. Some students who do not study diligently also make good grades. Jane studies somewhat diligently, therefore Jane makes somewhat good grades. Yeah, this has nothing to do with it. Out. All type A chemicals are extremely toxic to human beings. So far, I like this. You got the all, and you've got lots of something. All type B are not. Sure, this is a mixture of them, therefore it's moderately toxic. I'm going to answer this right now, but I suppose we should look at the rest of them. But as you can see, it really does just match up in that same, okay, admittedly, this is chemistry instead of biology, but the same moral applies where just, when you mix X and Y, you don't always get something halfway between X and Y. You could get Z. Whatever Z might be, I don't know. If you mix these two together, you get a trauma movie. Okay, C. Let's see what happens here. All students at Hanson School live in Greene County. Okay, you don't have the extreme, like it's not incredibly Greene County, but I'll leave that. We have the all. All students here live in this one. Okay, this is going to be a little tricky to be the same because, the bark a great deal and bark infrequently were sort of qualities, and these are that can sort of, vary on a spectrum. Whereas either you do or do not live in Greene and Wynn County, but I'll keep going. Members of the Perry family attend both Hanson and Edwards. Okay, therefore some members... Yeah, that actually seems pretty logical and really doesn't have the will it blend problem going on. So, out, if we have not already determined that. All right, now to look at the last two. D, all transcriptionists know shorthand. Again, knowing shorthand seems kind of binary, but the all is okay. All these guys know this. This person has worked both as this and this. He knows both. That actually, again, seems perfectly logical. Maybe he's forgotten them, but it's not certainly the same sort of flaw going on here. Okay, all of these dresses are very well made. Well, that is the second best answer so far, just from that. All of this person's dresses are very badly made. Half the dresses in this closet, okay, these are not blends of their dresses, are very well made and half are very badly made, therefore half are this person's and half are this person's. Well, this has a flaw, but it's the flip and the if-then flaw. We don't know that this closet belongs to either of these people. This closet could be Jake's, for all we know. So, you know, these are terrible. Obviously, it's B.